God, why this? Why now? Why me? Those words slip out in the moments when life presses on us harder than we ever expected. They don't rise because we lack faith. They rise because we're trying to make sense of seasons that feel confusing, disappointing, or painfully delayed. When life stops lining up with our expectations, when strength feels drained, when prayers seem unanswered, those questions almost whisper themselves. And if you've ever whispered them in the quiet places of your day, then today's message is meant for you. Welcome to 411 Heaven. I am truly glad you're here. There's a question that eventually visits every believer. Are the challenges you face stumbling blocks meant to stop you, or stepping stones meant to lift you higher? Because sometimes what we call a setback is actually the very thing God is using to reshape us, refine us, and prepare us. When the Apostle Paul wrote the words we read in Philippians chapter 4, he wasn't sitting in comfort or peace. He wrote them from a Roman prison, surrounded by darkness, uncertainty, and confinement. And yet he said, "I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances, for I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Paul wanted to preach freely. He wanted to travel. He wanted to plant churches. Instead, he was chained. But Paul refused to focus on what trapped him. He focused on who sustained him. His prison cell could have crushed him, but instead, it became a pulpit. What could have been his stumbling block became his stepping stone. Frustration comes to all of us. Sometimes it's small, a delay, an inconvenience. Sometimes it's deeper, a closed door, an unanswered prayer, a season that will not shift. Over time, frustration tries to whisper, "You're stuck. You're behind. God must be silent." But Isaiah 14 verse 27 reminds us, "The Lord of hosts has purposed, and who can annul it?" God's plans are not fragile. His purpose is not easily broken. Even when everything around you feels unstable, God remains steady. Let's look at the first two places where frustration takes root. Once you see them clearly, things begin to change. The first is the feeling of falling behind. You look around and see others moving forward while you're still waiting. It makes you wonder if God has forgotten you. But delays are not denials. Joseph is a perfect example. Betrayed, sold, accused, imprisoned. His life looked like loss after loss. But Scripture repeats the same phrase. The Lord was with Joseph. Even in the darkest places, God was shaping him for purpose. The pit he was thrown into eventually positioned him for the palace he would rule from. The second source of frustration comes from holding on to the past. Many carry wounds, regrets, and old memories that God never intended for them to hold forever. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. That failure could have defined him. But Jesus restored him. He lifted him. And the very place Peter stumbled became the ground where God built his courage and calling. And that is where we will continue in part 2. Thank you for watching 411 Heaven. Part 2 continues this message, walking deeper into healing, transformation, and the power of holy frustration.